Welcome in. It is the final drive. We are presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Great to have you with us, Dave Revson, Howard Griffith, Marcel Reese. We are in the second half of the college football season.
Starting to figure some things out.
Yes.
I'm excited about what's to come and here in the future.
Yeah.
Teams are
You're
figuring
always
this
a man
thing
who
out.
looks to the future.
Yeah.
Marcel lives in the present a little more.
Yeah, the cream is starting to rise to the top here in the Big
this
Ten.
guy.
The cream is rising to the top. The cream perhaps has already risen. We got some good cream in this league.
Look at it.
This is great. This is great. Sig and his alter ego, who I would assume makes decidedly less than Sig, and I don't mean that as a slight in any way. First quarter, 3-0 Indiana down. Fernando Mendoza to E.J. Williams. And he's able to reach for the end zone, and so the Hoosiers go on top 7-3. Second quarter, same score. Aiden Childs, Nick Marsh. Looky here. Spartans retake the lead 10-7. Their offense was better, 367 yards. They had no answers on D, but frankly, very few have had answers on D to Indiana. Mendoza, Elijah Surratt. How about Indiana? 5 touchdowns on its first 5 drives.
Pretty good.
That feels good. Yeah. No,
Seems like you should be controlling the game now.
Feels ideal, in fact. Kalon Black there, Indiana, 21-10 going into the half. The only thing they could not control was the weather.
Momentarily.
Yeah, it was ugly, as you can see.
Storm's coming.
It got dark, the rains came, and eventually we got back to action, and it was more of the same. It is Mendoza, it's Omar Cooper running free through the secondary. Mendoza, 24 of 28, a season high, 332 yards and 4 touchdowns. Here he finds Surratt again, 27 yards. The Hoosiers win it 38-13. You win this game, you know what you get, guys. You get the spittoon.
The old spittoon.
Cameron Irwin with the victorious Hoosiers.
Coach, it has been a big week in Bloomington. How was this the perfect bookend?
Well, this was the main sole focus. And I thought Michigan State played hard and really well on offense in particular. It's a good win for us after the Oregon game on the road. And, we made some plays, and there were some areas we got to clean up. But it's a decisive win.
How would you grade your defense tonight? Just a field goal since that first quarter.
Yeah, I hate to grade right after the game because there's so much that goes on that you don't see till you watch the tape. But we finished the half. We stopped them on the 2-minute drive, held them to a field goal the previous drive, and they got a late field goal here, which we took a lot of the ones out. So we adjusted.
Over 300 yards through the air for Fernando Mendoza, 4 touchdowns. When you think about him, you say there's still room for development. What steps did he take tonight?
I thought he was really sharp tonight. Very accurate. Our guys were separating. He had protection for the most part and made a few runs. I thought he was on point.
Elijah, a 2-touchdown performance. The second touchdown in the third quarter was simply beautiful. What were you feeling like in real time in that moment?
I love the play call that he called. It was a go route, and then press man, that's all you want. You have a chance to get in the ball. Fernando put through a perfect pass. A lot of DBs thinking back shoulder. I was able to win over top, and it was a great pass, and I made a decent catch. So.
It's interesting. This week we talked about what makes an elite wide receiver duo. You and Omar Cooper were exceptional tonight. 12 catches together for 185 yards. How elite would you call this performance?
Oh, it's up there with one of our better performances, but we know we can do better for sure. We left some things out there, but that we know we got to capitalize on next week.
They sound alarmingly similar to their coach sometimes. They left some stuff out there.
Hey, before you answer this, though, how about the fact that he says, I need to look back at the film before I grade, but then he gives you an accurate accounting of what happened and what they need to do for the next week.
Yeah. He's pretty good. There's a reason. He knows what he's looking at.
Yeah.
And what he's looking at is a team now that's won 13 straight home games.
It's impressive.
Extending the longest streak in school history, and there's very little drama in this one.
It really isn't. You talk about a team that just takes care of their business. They get it done, and there's still room for improvement. That's what's scary. And then you think about the way the defense handles things. Whew, this Indiana team, they're pretty good now.
Listening to Coach Sig at that post-game interview right on the field, and that synopsis that he's giving of this game tells the entire story. And then you start listening to all of the players, and everyone's saying the same song. we have room for improvement. And this is not just talk. They mean it. You can see it in their eyes. This team wants to continue to get better and fight for a national championship, and they are earning every single week.
And by the way, he was in a rainstorm doing this interview, and he wasn't bothering him one bit.
Yeah, not at all.
Unfazed, if you will.
No, he's soaking it up. Literally. Just one penalty in this game, didn't turn the ball over. I mean, a really clean performance. Yeah. Michigan State, I agree with Kurt Cignetti. I mean, offensively, particularly in that first half, showed some signs after they were really stagnant offensively these last couple games. But, man, defense, not a lot of teams are going to have answers for Indiana, but they were among them.
And they really figure it out, but they make those adjustments. And this is what this game is about. It's about being able to make adjustments, not necessarily at halftime, but be able to do it real time to have an understanding of what's going on in this game.
When you start to evaluate teams in a whole, you start to, if you look at what do they do after breaks, watch a Coach Sig team after a bye week, after halftime, they make adjustments and they can dominate games. When they do that in real time, that's what makes good teams great teams.
10 straight loss against ranked opponents for Michigan State, all of them by at least 14 points. Been a while since Wisconsin's beaten a ranked opponent as well. In fact, it's been a while since they've beaten anyone. They are really struggling. 4 straight losses going into their game with Ohio State. And it's not the team you want to face when you're struggling. Cardell Tate, that is a heck of a grab.
In between double coverage.
Ohio State 7-0 early. Hunter Simmons here in the air, and Sonny Styles picks it off. How about Ohio State? They've yet to allow a first half touchdown all season, 7 games. No touchdowns first half. They didn't allow any touchdowns this entire game. Saying to Tate there, second career multi-touchdown game for him. It's 17-0. More from Sayin. Will Kazmarek. Sayin threw for a career high 393 yards. Here to Brandon Inniss. 11 straight wins back to last year for the Buckeyes as they get the shutout win, 34-0, 10th straight loss against ranked teams for Wisconsin, their longest skid in 33 years. Telly Hughes got the reaction.
You got into the paint 2 times today, made some plays. How were you able to be so open and make some big plays for your team?
We just knew their exact coverage they were going to be in, and the middle was open, so that Ju gave me a good ball to go up there and make a play, and I did it.
And speaking of Julian, he seems like he is growing each and every week. He has 2 really good receivers to throw to, but he got to get the ball to you guys. How has he been progressing this year?
Ju's amazing. Crazy accuracy, amazing guy, all and off the field.
It's about the process, and we really want to, be consistent. And if we are who we say we are, and if we think our identity is what we say it is, then we have to bring it every week. It can't just be one week and then another week it's different. And so that's it. We're going to go back to work here this bye week, rest up a little bit, but then take a look and see at the things that we've done well here in the first half of the season, and then what we got to do to improve to make the run that we want to go on.
Second shutout for your defense this season, but were they a little upset about giving up double digits last week to Illinois, because they came out and they seemed like they were playing with yet another chip on their shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, it's every week you gotta be better than you were the week before, and you learn, and to give up a touchdown like we did was something that, all right, we got that behind us, we can move on now. I mean, that's going to happen. But they had a good week of practice, but even at the end, we had the second group in there, and you could see how important it was for us to keep them out of the end zone, and that's when you guys understand that it has nothing to do with the scoreboard. It has everything to do with the process of where we want to go.
Well, we're going to focus a little bit on the scoreboard. First conference road shutout in 8 years for Ohio State. Remember, last year they ended the season as the best scoring defense in the country. This group is blowing away last year's group. I mean, they're allowing 6 fewer points per game, about a half yard less per play, and they have allowed 4 touchdowns, as you see our auto owners insurance game leaders. Marcel, you start. Is it the defense? Is it the offense? What stands out the most to you?
It's not either or, it's both and. This team is unbelievable. They are the #1 team in the country for a reason. And we have all the highlights of offense, and they have the best offensive player in Jeremiah Smith, who we haven't even spoken about yet and had a fantastic game himself. But to say this defense is absolutely amazing. This defense, they play tough at the line of scrimmage. Their back end is probably the best back end we've seen in a very long time. They're opportunistic. They create turnovers. They do everything.
They really do, and they get pressure on the quarterback. But to me, when you look at a young quarterback playing in this offense, we've been covering this team for a while now, and it was always, it took them a little bit of time to really get their feet underneath them, to understand what it's like to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State, do that, and also put it together on the field. We're seeing it from week one. The progression continues to get better, and we've talked about his completion percentage.
80%. He's completing 80% of his passes. If you have one game where you complete 80%, that's an incredible game.
And that's where he is for the season. So I think to watch the growth of this offense, and sure, they don't have necessarily the marquee guys in the backfield that they've had in previous years, but they're still figuring out a way to get it done. And I think the run game is going to get better as the season goes on as well.
They got a couple pretty good guys on the edges there that he's throwing the ball to. A couple of them.
It's quite an assembly of talent. Ryan Day, 50 Big Ten wins in 55 games. The only person who's ever done it more quickly was Urban Meyer, who got there in 53 games, so he's a slacker. You know,
come on, man, get it going.
Underachieving just a bit, right?
Exactly. Wisconsin guys shut out back-to-back games, first time since 1977.
Yeah.
What do you say?
We've been talking about this, since this season started. We knew what the schedule was, but the inconsistency and the not being able to establish an identity in either of the three phases has really been troubling.
We just like to see some fight out of everyone, no matter whom you're going to get.
It doesn't get any easier either. They go to Oregon coming up next week. They have a brutal schedule down the stretch, as Howard alluded to. So much more to come on the show. Speaking of Oregon, the Ducks rebounding in a huge way, show you their dominant win over Rutgers. Irish eyes were not smiling on the Trojans, got run over in South Bend. And Michigan getting a win it absolutely had to have. We got all the highlights, all the reaction. This is the final drive. Oregon trying to bounce back from the loss to Indiana, going to Rutgers. I would say they bounced back. First quarter, actually down 3-0. Noah Whittington takes care of that. 68 yards.
He had a day today.
He did have a day. He had a really good day, as a matter of fact. Went over 100 yards, third time in his career. Dante Moore.
Ooh.
It's Sadiq. What a catch. It's a tight end.
Let's show that again. Love it.
Ducks on top 14-3. Next Rutgers drive. Remember, this has been a really good Rutgers offense this year. Been over 385 yards each of their first 6 games. Got nothing going against Oregon. Blake purchased the interception of Ethan Kaliak-Manis there. 202 yards for Rutgers in this game. Early second quarter. A little trickery, and Sadiq again.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Sometimes it's not fair.
Well, banged up, but would return to the game. Moore was 15-20 with 4 touchdowns. Whittington getting another one. How about 750 yards of total offense? Better than 12 yards per play. 56-10. The Duck was exhausted by the time it all ended. Here's Brooke Fletcher with the winners.
All right, I'm here with Dante Moore and his O-line. Poncho, I mean, these guys, you were working for Dante tonight. How did this group come together?
Man, first and foremost, I just want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for this wonderful time. You know, at the end of the day, he's always victorious, and these guys were here. We've been preparing week in and week out. We've been learning from mistakes last week, and, you know, we put out throughout practice. We've been executing, and we've been having some joy. You know, we talked, you know, Dante coming into the game, he talked about smiling, having some joy. When you have joy and happiness coming into the game, you know, things will unfold, and it'll show. Amen.
With the way that this guy performed here tonight, what does that say about him as the leader of this team?
He's a great leader. You know, you can see the way he leads the guys, how much he brings joy, how much he tells, you know, to smile. And when people are down, he likes to encourage others. And we do the same thing back for him. When sometimes we are not going to have our good and bad days. You know, I'll always be there for 5.
You talk about this as a team effort, Dante. With the way that these guys were playing for you tonight, what does that do for the entire offense's confidence?
I mean, when the run game is there, everything in the offense is there. So I feel like it starts up front with the front 5, and I feel like throughout the whole game we did a great job, and I'm blessed to have these guys in front of me to protect me, and I feel very safe at night when I'm playing with them.
10 straight road wins for the Ducks, the longest streak in the nation. Really impressive. I think Rutgers was kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, Marcel, because they got a team that was angry and trying to prove a point, and I would say point proven.
It didn't matter what color, what team, or what initial showed up against this Oregon Ducks team, they were going to run through them. You can watch that at that post-game interview. They were playing with joy and happiness. They were loving the game of football, loving their teammates. And I was impressed with Dan Lanning and the way that he got this team ready to play, because it wasn't a surprise that they won the game, but we wanted to see them dominate and have fun playing Oregon Duck football, and they did exactly that.
Yeah, I think that was the key. How were they going to respond after last week? And obviously they came out and did a tremendous job. And then in games like this, it's really not about the opponent. It's about what your expectations are, being able to play to your level.
It's good to see them take their first loss in the Big Ten and not feel fazed by it. No. They were smiling, they were happy, and they understand that their goal at the beginning of this year is still up to play for them, and they control their own destiny.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, all you have to do is look at Ohio State last year. 750 yards of offense, as I mentioned. That is the third most for any Big Ten team in a conference game over the last 30 years. So a historic performance, and Rutgers continues to struggle on defense. Fourth straight game now, allowing 30 or more points.
Yeah, and it was impressive, especially considering that Michigan lost their starting left tackle early in the game, Evan Link. No update exactly on what is going to be long-term for that. But again, next man up, that is the name of the game. For Washington, I think we hadn't seen Damon Williams play a game like this. He had 2 total career interceptions coming in. He threw 3 in the second half.
And I do have to disagree with what Coach Fish said. Yes, the turnovers was not like them, but the slow starts are who Washington have been. What we saw today was what happens when they don't wake up in the second half. And they are running out of time if they want to make this CFP. They have an outside looking in chance, and they have a big game coming up against Illinois. They have to right the ship. They have to find a way to come out of the gates hot.
Yeah, they've been a fourth quarter team all year long, but certainly ran out of gas on Saturday. And as you mentioned, it will be a tough Illinois squad. A rested Illini squad, the only Big Ten team to have a bye this week. Dave?
Ashley, Purdue and Northwestern, and look who is back in Evanston. Pat Fitzgerald. That is wonderful to see. They celebrated the Rose Bowl team from 30 years ago. He obviously was arguably the best player on that team, and he celebrated with his teammates, and he watched the Wildcats play quite well. Preston Stone to Hunter Welsing there. Northwestern on top 10-0. Ryan Brown, the Purdue quarterback, has been so dynamic this year, taking a hit there in the third quarter. He would have to leave the game, did not return. Wildcats, after a punt, Griffin Wilde for the touchdown, up 19-0, went for 2, didn't get it. But the story of this game, Northwestern's defense, they forced 3 turnovers. Brendan Flakes coming up with 1 there as the Cats get the shutout win. They are 5-2. Caroline Hendershot with the winners.
You know what? Really proud of our defense, their ability to close out the game in the fourth quarter, and anytime you can finish with a shutout, that's something really special.
How does it feel to put on a performance like this offensively in front of Gary Barnett and the rest of the 1995 crew?
Yeah, you know, I'm really proud of the way that this team started, being able to build momentum in the third quarter, an opportunity to honor the 95 team and Coach Barnett. Really special to walk off this field today with the win, honoring those guys, and ultimately an opportunity for us as a football team to evaluate the fourth quarter and know that we got to do a better job of closing out games on offense and on special teams.
Defense awfully good. You see their first shutout in any game since 2017 when they blanked Minnesota, and first time they have shut out the Boilermakers since 1956. And remember, Purdue was playing pretty well offensively, over 450 yards of offense the last 2 weeks. So no small feat to blank the Boilers. Defense was really the story, and it continues to be as Northwestern builds this identity, a team that wants to run the ball and play great D.
And I think one of the things when you start to look at this defensive front, they're getting there with 4 rushers, and they're able to play some coverage. So you have to give this defensive staff a lot of credit, gotten these guys playing at a high level. And this is a Purdue team that we've talked about has been able to move the ball up and down the field, but Northwestern was having none of that today.
The Purdue offensive attack is a good offensive attack. They still had the yards, but Northwestern found ways to just stop them. And obviously with the shutout, it's what every defense wants. But when I look at this offense, you love the way that they run the ball. This is a tough football team. No matter whom they play, they keep the score close, and now they're learning how to finish and win these games.
232 rushing yards. Caleb Komalafe got a little banged up in this game, so it'll be interesting to see if he's available for next week. I just want to say it was amazing to see Pat Fitzgerald and that whole team back there really happy that he returned to campus and all his teammates. That was a special team and great to see them celebrate together.
Yeah, you start thinking about, growing up here in the area, just how electrifying that team was.
Amazing.
It was amazing what they were able to accomplish.
Not just special to Northwestern, but special to the Big Ten in general. This was a historic team.
No, absolutely. From Purdue's point of view, guys, surprised at all that they were as flat as they were offensively? Again, Northwestern had a lot to do with it, but this is a team that's moved the ball on just about everyone.
Yeah, we keep saying it week in and week out that this Purdue team is wildly improved than the Purdue team from last year. It's just not showing in the wins column yet. They have to figure out how to get over the hump and not just get in the red zone or have the yards, but now score the points and win games.
13 straight conference losses, tied for their longest skid ever. We said last week, it feels like they're close.
Yeah.
They get Rutgers
Still a process.
next week. Yeah, it's a huge game, really, for both of those teams next week when they take on Rutgers. The Bruins just keep on winning. You get one, and then you get a few. We'll show you how they extended the Terps' fourth quarter misery. And new coach, same result for Penn State. Highlights of a thriller at Kinnick just ahead.
The Final Drive is sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Back on Final Drive, Brock Breen, Ashley Adamson with you. And Brock, we are reminded every week that it is never as good or as bad as it feels on any given Saturday. Take the Michigan Wolverines as Exhibit A. They went to USC, lost their starting running back, got run over by the Trojans, and Saturday a chance to flip the script. Justice Haynes still out, the Big Ten's leading rusher, but several others stepped up, including the freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood. He had it going today. Andrew Marsh. That's just a couple of 18-year-olds having fun, Brock.
Touchdown throws don't get much easier than that.
Michigan up 7-0. Huskies, they got some young talent as well. Damon Williams, second and 19. He finds the true freshman Raiden Vines-Bright, a 31-yard pickup. Sets up their first touchdown of the day. Who are you going to give it to?
Oh, just the guy who finds the end zone all day, every day.
Jonah Coleman is in. It is all even at 7 at the break. Third quarter, this is where things start to go sideways for the Huskies. Cole Sullivan, you see him there, picks off Damon Williams' pass, and that was a heads-up play.
Beautiful play. Not even the guy he was covering, by the way, just a heads-up play.
Very next play, Jordan Marshall, the starting running back for Justice Haynes, pays it off, 14-yard to the house. And what a game Marshall had. We'll talk about him in just a bit. Fourth quarter, after Williams threw another pick, Bryce Underwood comes back with the beautiful pass to Deacon Tonelli. 28 yards in the first down. Michigan feeling good. Underwood, terrific on Saturday. 21-27, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. There's one of them to Zach Marshall, the tight end. I don't know if you're sensing a theme here, but if your name started with Marsh or Marshall, you were having a good day. It was not a good day for Damon Williams Jr. 3 picks in the second half. Credit the Michigan defense, a resilient win. Jenny Taft with the winners.
Coach, this was all about getting back to Michigan football, obviously running the ball, the physicality. I know you're standing with someone special here. How pleased were you with this performance and bounce back today?
So pleased, so happy. Proud of this team, proud of these coaches. We had some tough conversations this week and really challenged each other inside, and they never folded. So I'm so proud of this team, so proud of this young man right here to step up. Justice went down, couldn't go, and he just stepped up and did a heck of a job. I'm so proud of the offense, proud of the defense, proud of the special teams, these coaches, these players. Such an unbelievable job. Great win for Michigan. Talk to him.
All right, talk to him. We're going old school, Jordan. It was such a special game for you today, and your ability to step up. Something Coach Alford said to me, that he trusted you with every ounce. How did you do it today?
We say that trust is just repetitive actions over time, and I knew I wanted to come out here and perform for Justice. He would do anything for his team, and to be out here, and you get to see that. I think we have the best room in the country. You have Jasper, a young guy out here running the ball too, and it's just so special to see all the work these guys put in to come out here and do this.
Very not like us at all to turn it over, but disappointed in the game, how we coached, how we played, and we got to get back to work and prepare for a very good Illinois team.
This will not be a fun film session for the Huskies, and we'll talk about Washington in just a minute. But let's start with Michigan, because they answered the bell after a tough loss, as we talked about last week at USC. And when you get an opportunity, like Jordan Marshall got it just matters what you do with it, and it was impressive what he did today.
It certainly does. You hate injuries. It's the worst part of the sport. But you love the silver lining of a guy who takes advantage of being RB1 when he is usually RB2. And that is Jordan Marshall. Look at the tough run here, lowering that shoulder, using those arms. He is so difficult to get on the ground, and he was doing the most with how many carries he had today. A little hop step, showing his vision, showing his speed. He has that as well, proving he can be the complete back. And how about this? Chugga, 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 first down. I love when a guy can step up to the plate and you see how much head coach Sherrone Moore loves him, his arm wrapped around him. And what does Jordan Marshall do? He bigs up the running back that he replaced in Justice Haynes, team guy through and through.
Penn State and Iowa. Pat Kraft, the AD on the sideline with the interim coach, Terry Smith. Ethan Grunkemeyer getting his first start, obviously, with Drew Allard done for the year. Pick it up in the second quarter, just before the half, the dreaded
double thump.
Iowa went for the field goal. Instead, it was scooped up by Elliott Washington and taken in for a touchdown. And Penn State takes the 14-10 lead at the half. Terry Smith fired up to the fourth quarter. We go. Iowa down 24-19. Mark Gronowski is running free.
You love it if you're Iowa. You hate it if you're Penn State.
Gronowski, 130 rushing yards, guys. Most for an Iowa quarterback this century. Ran for 2 TDs. Very next play, it's Caden Weegan, who is such a great weapon for them. 8-yard touchdown. They went for 2. They didn't get it. So Hawks up 25-24. They need one more stop, and they got it. 4th and 4. Grunkemeyer under pressure. Has to heave it up there. Incomplete, and Iowa hangs on 25-24. 7th straight win against unranked teams. Mark Gronowski and company are 5-2.
Wasn't really expecting to have a 67-yard run. I was expecting to have a long, sustained drive to finish out that game. But, I told those guys pre-drive that we were going to take it one play at a time. We don't need to get it all in one play, and turns out we kind of did.
Played a lot of great games, both at South Dakota State here as well. Where does this one tonight stack up in your career?
Going against Penn State growing up, that's one of the premier powerhouses, and that's one of those games that you dream of.
Gronowski really has added an element of toughness in that run game for Iowa. He scored a touchdown in every single game. He had 2 of them in this game, and the Hawkeyes just figured out a way.
And that's what they've been doing the last couple of years, finding ways to win football games. But when you look at what Penn State had an opportunity to do here, it was just about rallying to the ball and making the tackles, and they weren't able to get that done. Came up with a huge special teams play that I thought really gave them control of the game, but they weren't able to control it the rest of the way.
When we're watching this game in the green room, when you see Penn State at the last play of the half, you go in, you block a field goal just like you draw it up for a touchdown, and you go into halftime with that momentum, you think Penn State's going to get a huge win after a ton of adversity, a week of adversity. But yet this Iowa team just shows up like they do every single week, keep things close, they bludgeon you. They're resilient. They play absolutely physical on both sides of the ball until they wear teams down. And tonight, they wore the Nittany Lions down.
Go ahead. I thought the last play, when they got after the quarterback, they brought the blitz. Sometimes you want to sit back and play coverage. They brought pressure and had the quarterback in a tough situation.
Great defensive call.
Yeah, they did. And it's just kind of a recurring theme here for Penn State. I mean, you think about how a season turns on a play here, a play there. They've lost 4 games here by 13 points total. I mean, you think about what their season could have been and what it is. 4 straight losses for them as they lose the first game under Terry Smith. They have a bye, and then they go to Columbus.
Probably a good time for them.
After that, yeah. It's not a great time to go to Columbus, though. No. It's never really a good time.
No. Well, that's why you get a bye first.
Yeah, exactly. One more game to tell you about, UCLA and Maryland. The Bruins have totally turned their season around, pick it up in the third quarter. UCLA on top 7-3, and Jamari Glasker with the interception. That's the 4th pick 6 of the year for the Terps, who led the nation in interceptions coming in. But Nico Iamaleava able to shake it off. He hits Mikey Matthews there. UCLA back on top, 14-10. What a great drive Malik Washington then put together. Hits Jalil Farouk. Maryland ties it up at 17. but the Bruins come right back. Iamaleava had left the game with an injury. He comes back, hands it off to Anthony Frias, who had a big-time game, 35 yards for him. He had 4 carries for 97 yards and a TD, and that set up Mateen Begani. And he nails the game-winning field goal. UCLA gets the win, their 3rd straight victory, 20-17. Tim Skipper's team rolling on.
Tough games, you're going to need everybody. And like we preach all the time, you never know when your moment's going to happen. So you just keep working hard, you keep executing, keep sawing wood, and when your opportunity comes, take full advantage of that. So it was a whole team effort. You can name a lot of people that contributed to this thing. That was awesome to just see guys just keep fighting and straining. Nobody pointed fingers. That's the main thing. It got tight. It was really tight down there on the sideline. Nobody was pointing fingers. We're just like, hey, we're a play away. We're a play away. We're almost there. We're almost there. And it came true, and we figured out a way to finish it off.
They did indeed. Toughness, I mean, for Iamaleava to leave the game like he did and come back, they're really running the ball well, Marcel. It's just a totally different team.
With this UCLA team, you almost throw the stats away and just look at this team as a whole. And look, 5 weeks ago, we wouldn't say that this team could face adversity. They face adversity, a pick 6. They're down in the game. They're having a comeback. They turn the ball over, and you look at this team, and they're not blinking at all on the sideline. That is the most impressive thing. Tim Skipper and this coaching staff has this team and these players believing in what they're selling, and they're playing like that.
Ashley did an interview with Skipper earlier in the week that we aired.
Yeah, great.
That I thought was fabulous because it talked about the positivity that's going on and how they believe in one another now. It's amazing what a change will do, bringing new energy. The energy was in the building already, but clearly it was suppressed, and now all of a sudden the leadership has changed and the players have responded, and I think that's the most important part.
You evaluate this team in a vacuum over the last 4 weeks amongst the rest of the league, and you're saying this team is one of the best teams that we have in the Big Ten. They're running the ball extremely well. They're explosive when they have to be. The defense is making plays. This is a good football team right now.
No doubt. They dug a hole. Obviously, it's going to be tough to get to a bowl game just because the remaining schedule, 4 of their remaining 5 opponents were ranked going into this week. But still, great story, guys. We got to talk about Maryland. It's the 4th quarter. This is kind of the same story, 3rd straight week. They've had a 4th quarter lead. Let it slip away. 3 losses now by a total of 10 points.
After seeing them put that game, what we thought was going to be a game-winning drive together, and then to give it up on the defensive side, it's tough, but they've got to find a way. We've been saying this for weeks now, to be able to put 4 quarters of a game together, and they haven't been able to get it done yet.
They get a bye week, and then they head home for a game with Indiana. So what's coming up after the bye?
Is not working out so
right. Need some time
challenging
to gather. What's coming up next for us is a segment so good we named the show after it. The Final Drive on the Final Drive. Next.
I love when he does that.
It is time for the Final Drive. One thought on each and every team that played this weekend. And Howard, you lead us off with another Indiana win.
Really a dominant performance. Once again, you talk about a team that continues to show why they're one of the top teams in the country.
They get UCLA coming up next. Marcel, another nice win for Iowa.
This is a team that continues to stack quality wins by playing tough and resilient.
Got Florida Rosedale next week against Minnesota, one of the most anticipated trophy games. Howard, same story for Maryland.
Really tough. They haven't put 4 quarters together, and until they do that, they're going to continue to find themselves in this situation.
8th loss in their last 9 conference games. Michigan, nice bounce-back win, Marcel.
Yeah, this is a tough team that continues to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and they got a young star at the quarterback position.
They are at Michigan State next week. Spartans falling on Saturday.
Really tough. They started out really well, particularly on the offensive side, but again, it's not getting things done, not slowing their opponents down.
5 straight conference losses for them back to last year. Minnesota, Marcel, getting a win on Friday.
9 sacks on the quarterback. But guess what? Let's welcome the run game back to the Minnesota offense.
Yeah, no doubt. 6th straight win over Nebraska.
He's rolling the boat?
Yeah, he's rolling the boat. Flip side of that game was the Huskers.
The Huskers, it's been tough, right? They can't turn the ball over the way they do, and not being able to protect the quarterback has been an issue for them this year.
They've got Northwestern next, and the Wildcats coming off a win.
Continuing to keep every game close, but now figuring out how to stack some wins. Yeah. Congratulations to those Cats.
1 win away from bowl eligibility. Ohio State, Howard, just keeps on rolling.
Yeah, they keep answering each call each week. When you look at all 3 phases, just a tremendous team right now.
52-1 against unranked teams under Ryan Day. That's a pretty good
number
there. Oregon, dominant win, Marcel.
Yeah, just a really good bounce-back game. Typical of a Dan Lanning team. They face some adversity, come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, most yards in a conference game in 10 years for them. Penn State, Howard, kind of same old story.
Yeah, can't find a way to finish. You know, the coaches talked about being in a situation where they were in control of the game a little bit and weren't able to finish it. They've got to find a way for some good things to start happening for this program.
They've lost 6 straight one-score games. Tough day for Purdue, Marcel.
Yeah, when you're looking at Purdue, we keep saying it week in and week out that this is a much improved team. Right now is a time where the Purdue Boilermakers have to figure out a way to get over that hump and start winning games in the conference.
This was a bit of a step back, it feels like.
Absolutely.
They've got Rutgers coming up this week. Speaking of.
Yeah, this is a Rutgers team that's got to find a way to make some plays defensively to slow teams down. Offensively, they was an issue today, but defense is the problem for this team right now.
And still not beaten a ranked team since 2009. UCLA continues to be one of the best stories in college football.
Tim Skipper and this coaching staff is really showing their good leadership attributes with this team, and the players are believing it. Congrats to the Bruins.
News not as good across town, Howard.
It's really tough. I think when you look at the way they lost this game, I thought this was a game that they can control, but when you give up this type of yardage on the ground, you're not going to win a lot of games.
A bye week for USC, then they head to Nebraska. Marcel, Washington suffering a loss.
Uncharacteristic with the turnovers today. Just have to be able to come out in the first half and not just depend on your second half execution, but come out in the first half and start playing hard.
A big one for the Huskies next week as they will take on Illinois. And Howard, we finish with Wisconsin.
I know it's tough. I mean, if you're a Badger fan, but there's got to be a way that they can find some good things and try to put some games together. I know what the schedule is, but they've got to find a way to get a victory.
10 losses in the last 12 games for Wisconsin. As we mentioned, the schedule just does not get any easier. We still have a little bit of work to do.
A little work?
Yeah, we've got some Saturday standouts to pick. Plenty of choices. We'll tell you who we narrowed it down to as we wrap up the final drive. Look at the top 10 with the Big Ten's top 2 teams winning and Miami losing to Louisville on Friday night. A chance for the Big Ten to be 1 and 2 in the polls for the 3rd time this year with 3 different sets of teams. Ohio State's been a part of it each time, but Indiana would be the 3rd different team to be number 2. You see some other losers in the top 10, including Ole Miss, which fell to Georgia, and Texas Tech losing to Arizona State, so perhaps Oregon moves up in the poll as well. Let's get to our Saturday standouts. Howard, lead us off.
Fernando Mendoza. This dude has been unbelievable. Has had a great year at the quarterback position. Can we start talking Heisman Trophy for this young man?
Oh, yeah.
He has put an unbelievable season together to this point, a great leader for the Hoosiers.
Where are you going, Marcel?
I love that idea from you, Howard, but I'm going with the Oregon running back, Noah Whittington. 11 rushes, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and adding some passing yards. Noah Whittington had a day today.
I'm going to go with Julian Sayin, the Ohio State quarterback. Howard mentioned it earlier. It bears repeating. He's completing 80% of his passes on the year. The NCAA record for a season is 77.4% by Mac Jones, so he has got a chance. 19 touchdown passes on the year, 7 of them for 30 yards or longer, including one today. Final thoughts on the day?
I think we start to look at these 3 elite teams that we have right now, and they're just playing so well. And I think it'll be interesting to see who's going to be that 4th team to get into the conversation.
I think that's the right question. Well, I said it at the beginning of this show. The cream is starting to rise to the top.
The very top of this league is absolutely fabulous, and they are fun to watch.